What's up guys, it's Amanda. Welcome back to my channel and happy Artsy Fartsy Friday. Today we are doing an art showdown. Digital art versus traditional art. Which one will reign supreme? Except really it's not that serious because everyone wins as long as you're creating something. So I decided for this month's Copic colors theme, I would try my hand at both doing a digital piece and a traditional piece just so that I could see the contrast between the two mediums and how my style changed between the two. So for the first illustration, I did my usual Copic marker art. I didn't have all three colors, so I kind of had to improvise a little bit there, and I threw in a few extra colors just to tie everything off and finish it off, but it seems like the Copic colors challenges are pretty flexible, so I thought that would be okay. However, for the digital art challenge, I stuck solely to the three colors with the exception of white, which maybe that counts, maybe that doesn't, I don't know. But because the Copic colors for 2019 have started to include the hex codes and the Pantone color equivalents, I wanted to do a digital illustration also, so I did that using my iPad in the Procreate app. Just a disclaimer, my iPad is pretty outdated at this point, so I just use one of those dinky little squishy ball tip styluses to create it. Nothing fancy, no Apple Pencil, no iPad Pro up in this place yet. Hopefully that will happen one day. But that was the challenge for today's video. So I'm curious for you guys to see the difference between the two and to find out which one you like better. What do you prefer? Do you prefer digital art or traditional art? Let me know in the comments down below. And without further ado, let's get into the art showdown, which is really not a showdown. It's more of just a friendly comparison. So let's get started. Okay, so if you couldn't already tell, I have my traditional art time-lapse there on the left and the digital art time-lapse on the right. It's a little harder to see what's going on in the fine details on the digital art side just because of the way that Procreate films the time-lapse videos. They don't really show you what tools I'm using, and they don't really zoom in when I zoom in. When I do digital art, guys, I work so close up. I really zoom in and I really get all those fine details in, so you miss out on a lot of that on the digital art side, unfortunately. And because I don't have a newer iPad, I don't have the option to just screen record the process, which would be my preference. But unfortunately, this is what we're working with right now. You will see just the more constructional part of the digital construction piece. So you'll really get to see me kind of flesh out the pose and play around with the proportions a little bit. And on the traditional art side, you can see I kind of just had a very loose sketch and then went in with color. So when you're comparing this digital art piece to this traditional art piece, keep in mind I kind of just went for two completely different styles here. The traditional sketch was kind of meant to be painterly and messy, and if everything wasn't perfectly blended, that was okay. And I think when you're working with limited color palettes in a traditional way, this is a really effective way to do it because it can be kind of just like messy and loose and fun, and I think it worked really well in this case. On the digital art side, I went with this more like clean-cut approach, really kind of graphic, really clean lines and minimal to no line work. So very different. I guess both of these don't really have a lot of line work going on, but just the look of the digital piece is just a lot cleaner, flatter, just simple in that way. And I actually think it's really effective in the digital art piece. I think it looks really, really cool. It's kind of similar to the style I was trying to create with my Posca markers in last week's video. So if that kind of just gives you an idea of what I was going for, that's sort of where I pulled that inspiration from, and it's something I see a lot, and it's actually something I really like about limited color palettes. They're so easy for the eye to read, and it's just like instantly aesthetically pleasing just to see a few colors working together really, really well. I think I actually accomplished that in the digital art piece, and it's one of the few times that I'll admit that I accomplished that. I feel like I struggle a lot with limited palettes, and it's something I'm really trying to work on. I feel like I talk about limited color palettes non-stop, and I'm really trying to get to a place where I can comfortably use three colors in a piece really, really well. It's easier for me to do that digitally. I will admit it's harder to do that traditionally, and it's harder to do that with Copics for me. There's a few artists I'm following right now that have really nailed down the process of using limited colors, using Copics, and I'm really trying to just pull inspiration from them and incorporate that more into my Copic marker work, because I'd love to see kind of that clean line graphic style with my Copic work. I think that's something that would be really, really cool. If you work in that style, let me know what some of your greatest tips and tricks are. I'd love to just like rack your brain about that, because I really want to meld the two styles together. I think that's like one of my goals for 2019, is just to get to a place where I want to, you know, I know Copics are great at blending, and that's really what they're meant for, and they blend so smoothly and so easily. But how can I work with Copics where I'm like not trying to get a smooth gradient, where I'm trying to get those really crisp, clean lines, and create that same kind of graphic style. I ended up, at this point, it actually wasn't my intention with the digital art piece, but I ended up just foregoing the line art altogether, because I thought it created a much cleaner, more streamlined look, and I'm so happy that I made that decision. And I just love the contrast of the contrasting colors or complementary colors in this color palette. I feel like that's just why I was so inspired to create multiple illustrations in this color palette. I literally can't stop thinking about artwork to create with these colors. They're just so beautiful. Something about blue and orange, I'm just always drawn to it in artwork, in decor, in like clothing and makeup. I just really love the contrast of those colors. I feel like it's, of all the complementary colors, those are the ones I'm drawn to the most. Like red and green, yeah, can be really cool. Like yellow and purple, sure, but like blue and orange, I'm so there, and I think it's like kind of shown up in a lot of my old artwork too. And on that note, I think these two illustrations are done, so I'm gonna cut to my closing thoughts. And that was my video for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Again, let me know which one is your favorite in the comment section down below. Did you like the digital art illustration or the traditional art illustration better? I am planning on making these into prints on my online store, so you can check that out in the description down below. And before I go, I wanted to say a big thank you to my patrons for this month. Thank you, patrons. I love you and I appreciate you always. Shout out to the Artsy Fartsy Friday artists for this week. And without further ado, guys, thank you again for watching, and I will see you on the internet.